May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? We're going to call our workshop to order. And what we are going to do is we're going to have a briefing on the first quarter financial briefing and then the preliminary budget briefing that will be conducted by the finance department. And if you go through that, these two members have any questions or have any questions, we will ask at that time. This is a briefing that we're holding for the two council members and any audience or any one of the audience that want to participate and listen and see hear what's going on, that's fine. We thank you for attending, those of you that are here, especially those of you that are anticipating being on this council in May. This is a good time to be here, and it's a good time to get yourself brought up to date with what you want to be faced with, because everything that we're doing now is stacking up and waiting, we're going to be waiting for your approval. Okay, with that, without further ado, we'll go into item number 1, and that is to receive the fiscal year 11-2-12 first quarter financial agreement. And that would be done by Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Mayor and city council members. The general fund operating revenues, we'll just get to that right away. You can see that hopefully you can hear me. The general fund is on target for the first quarter. We are at 46.5% of the budgeted revenues, actual revenues, 32 million actuals of a $68 million budget. And normally you can just kind of see that we're doing fairly well, and of course those are seasonal because we've got our property taxes that we usually get right away, and our sales tax is coming in fairly well at this time. The expenditures are at 7.65% above last fiscal year. They're tracking well. We're 16.2 million actuals of a $69.5 million budget. And the ending fund balance is 209.61%, or $35 million, which is 1% below prior year. So we're tracking fairly well there. We're doing just fine. Aviation fund.
You need to advance it.
Oh, I'm sorry. The aviation fund operating revenues, that's the next fund that we're looking at. Our aviation operating revenues, what we usually do is just bank out all the grant funds here. Our actuals are at 20.2% actuals, $4.4 million budget. These are in consideration of the economics, they're tracking fairly well. Our expenditures are at $831,790, or 18.1% of the actuals of $4.5 million budget. Solid waste, we're at $3.7 million actuals of, or $24.7 million of $15 million budget. Revenues. The expenditures are $3.5 million. Or 22% actuals of a $15.9 million adopted budget. The ending fund balance for the solid waste is tracking fairly well. We did have a little bit of a rate increase last year. This fund is up $1.5 million, or 1.5% from the prior year. Water and sewer fund. The water and sewer fund actuals are at $8.9 million actuals, or 24.9%, and the little thumb is 25% at this time of the year, and this is a $35 million budget. The expenditures are at $8.9 million of a $38 million budget, so we're tracking fairly well. And the ending fund balance on this, excuse me, I'm not used to it. I can usually do two things at one time. The expenditures, ending fund balance on this is $22 million, or 138%. and it is up 11.7% from the prior year. And again, we did have a rate increase, but we are working on master plans and so forth and so on, and those will be brought to the Water and Sewer Committee and Drainage Utility Fund. Drainage Utility Fund, operating revenues are $923,000 actuals, $923,000 actuals, or 25.4% of the $3 million budget. And we're tracking fairly well on that. The expenditure line items are $611,677, or 14.7% of a $4 million budget. The ending balance of this is $8.2 million, or 996%. And this is actually down 4% from the previous year, and this is because this is being spent down on major projects. All the summary is that we don't have any critical issues at this time. The mayor and city council members did adopt a fairly very conservative budget, and everybody is tracking and keeping the expenditures very conservative. And for our city management and mayor and city council, we are being very conservative in how we spend our funds. Any questions? Economic indicators. Economic indicators, I think we all know that the unemployment rate, we're continuing to monitor. That's one of the indicators that we do watch very carefully. This one, we're hoping that it will improve, but it's about the same. It's pretty steady. And we have a few indicators that we do have. The city's unemployment rate is 8.4%. Texas unemployment rate 7.2%. Bell County 7.6%. We continue to look at these and monitor them carefully. The sales tax, we continue to monitor this, and sales tax is ahead of the prior year, so we'll continue to monitor this closely, and we're hoping that we get a little bit more revenue. Marty keeps us on check on this, and Belinda and I get our message as soon as that sales tax comes in, right, Marty? Yes, ma'am. She wants to make sure that we get our money. The aviation claimants and e-claimants we get, Mr. Sutton and the folks out at the airport do a fantastic job in reference to this. The permits construction value, this one is, we're all keeping a close eye on the construction values, and we continue to exceed the $100 million, but we're keeping a close eye on those utilities. I can tell you that Sherry's out here in the audience somewhere, and she's a very busy lady. We have never seen our customers drop out there, and they continue to be very, very busy out in our utility collections area. Hotel occupancy, we've actually been seeing a little bit of an increase there, so 0.4% increase over the previous fiscal year. And investment earnings review, and this is what Mrs. Anderson is here for, and I'll just kind of let her defer to another portfolio that she's got that was in your packets. It's a little bit more detailed. If you'd like to review that. And of course, we've got the investment earnings of the first quarter. It is a little bit higher than the previous year, so we are doing a great job there, and that's, I think, an indication of investing in the CDs. And believe it or not, they are making a little bit more money than any other earnings that are out there. But the Federal Reserve is not changing its methodology or the prime rate, but I'll let her kind of go into the detail on the investments, and she can take it from there.
Thank you. Again, Susan Anderson with Value Consulting. You should have a copy of the quarterly report in your packet. As council members, I think there's a few pages that you should really focus on. As Barbara mentioned, investment earnings are up a little bit this year. When we took over back in April, we had a lot of work to do. We reviewed your investment policy, we did cash flow forecasting, and our objective was to ladder your portfolio. And if you'll remember, what we talked about is at that moment in time, you had almost all of your eggs in one basket, which was overnight And the overnight rates back then were about 0.07. Overnight rates are still about the same, 0.07 right now. But we have taken pieces of your investment program and bought CDs to match with obligation dates. So your yield at the end of December was a whopping 0.22% compared to 0.07%. You know, it's doing better. Still not where we want it to be. After December, we did execute, or we actually executed in December about 10 million more, 9 million more in CDs. They didn't settle until January, so we'll see the impact of those at your next quarterly report. And then also refining the cash flows. We're hopeful that we can find some more funds to take out and just keep that rolling ladder to increase the earnings potential there. Again, as council members, I think there's a few pages in here that might be helpful for you to focus on each time you get the report. The first one is behind the cover page, the strategy page. And this is a very succinct kind of overview of the program. It shows where the book value was at the end of the previous quarter, where it is at the end of this quarter. The average yield that you'll see, the total portfolio, I'm sorry, I didn't bring PowerPoints, I can do that in the future if you need them. The total portfolio under average yield, that's where you see the aggregate portfolio's yield, which I alluded to earlier is a 0.22. Right beneath that, you'll see a couple of indicative rates of comparable type situations. You see a rolling 3-month treasury bill at 0.02%, so you're 20 basis points higher than that. A 6-month T-bill is a 0.06. So you're doing better than both of those, and then I can also tell you that the pools are doing about 0.07. So, you know, we're moving the right direction. We have to keep it safe, so we can't go out and buy just anything crazy, because we want to make sure that when the thing matures, you get your money back. So any interest we can get is what we're after right now. The next page, again, just a brief, if you're looking at this as a council member, I think the thing that I would most focus on as a council member, this is your detailed holdings page. Just scan it to see what types of investments. Here's where you see the ladder, because you see each of those maturities as they come due. And then at the top, we have all of the overnight liquidity positions that you have. I can tell you that we've also taken advantage of a couple of different liquidity products other than the pools. We've had you deposit into a couple of NOW accounts, negotiated order withdrawal. It's a bank deposit account. It's essentially liquid. You can take up to 6 withdrawals a month. We've got one of the NOW accounts that pays the tax pool rate, which is one of the local government investment pools, which was today paying about 0.07 plus. That particular NOW account pays 20 basis points plus tax pool. So this morning it was paying 0.27. So that's a good option. Unfortunately, they can only take so much in that particular account. I think you're up to 10 million, and that's their limit. We have another NOW account with another bank that pays 25 basis points, just a flat 25 basis points. So every opportunity we can find, we're sticking money into that type of a position. So again, as a council member, scan that, see if there's any crazy names on there that make you uncomfortable. That's when you ask questions. And then finally, as you turn towards the back, it's about the 3rd page back, if you're interested to see which funds have the investments, we've got the page that at the end of the quarter shows all of your investments on one side and which fund owns each of those investments. As Barbara mentioned, it's been a difficult economy. We have seen signs recently of an improvement. Employment is picking up. One of the things you might want to take a look at, the first Friday every month is when the employment number comes out. And it's a good gauge of what's going on in the economy. When you see a recovering economy, you're going to look for 250,000 jobs or more added each month. We just this last month hit 245,000. So we're fingers crossed that we're getting close to that, objective, saying that the economy is healing, we're moving forward. Housing information is getting better. A lot of optimism out there in the market, and you'll go home tonight and see that. It's reflected in the stock market as well.
Yes, Mr. Barr. I see that some of these investments that are on our ladder, 0.65. Just they did some good shopping to find out.
You know, the thing is, when you're under 1 year on CDs, there's a whole lot of money going in. A lot of banks don't really have needs for shorter than 1 year money. And so the rates aren't as high. Once you get beyond that 1 year, and that's what we continue to try to do, is there any little bit of nugget that you're not going to spend this year that maybe you can go out a little bit further? Because as you go out further, as you can see, the rates really jump up. Now, yes, some of these were purchased back in August of last year when rates were a little bit better. The 2-year rate right now is a 0.6.
Yep, we just get back to where we were in 2008 in that regard.
Well, it's not hard we got there today, so maybe everything else will catch up. Just mention that when you have economic stress, and when you have situations like what's occurring overseas, Iran, Euro, puts a lot of stress on the market. People in fear are driven to the U.S. markets, and the very markets that you participate in, the treasury markets. When everybody's driven to that market, forces rates down. So once we can start getting a little bit better feeling out there, those rates will actually go up as investors go elsewhere.
You have a comment, Mr. Senator?
Thank y'all. Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you, ma'am. That brings us to the mayor and council comments and discussions. Anything